me text Kev now.
I paid for that crib and never stepped foot in. And now somebody else is eating all the pudding. Things change, now my dashboard wooden.
I don't think you should say that, though.
Like a young Doc couldn't. Dog shades, cause I'm stone crazy. Girl,
Yeah, but I'll tell you later. I don't think that was what I was going for. Let me see. Alright, Kev. Cool, we got Kev coming through. Should be popping up now.
Why you ready?
Yeah, I heard that song yesterday, man. It hit me. I was feeling that.
Yo, man, that song has a lot of soul to it, brother.
Definitely. I was feeling that. A lot of self-expression. He really went in on that one. He said something crazy like, he says, I hope you never get off Fridays and you work at Fridays. That's always busy on Fridays. It was hilarious, man. He killed that one.
I hope you lose your lotto ticket.
Crazy, man. How's everything with you?
Everything's good, bro. I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. You know, just got home from work not too long ago.
Gotcha.
So just ready to – I wish I was getting ready to wind down. I got the game in front of me. Golden State is playing Dallas. But once I'm done talking to you and wrapping up the show, I'm going to go, you know, back into the lab. You know, I carved out a space in my closet. I'm going to finish the EP tonight because, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to send that to you.
I love it. Gotta feed the people, man. Keep putting that work out there.
100%. So, my brother, I don't want to waste any more time. I want to kind of get right into it because I know we have some people here tonight. And also, too, I just want to be very respectful of your time. So, you know, I'm going to be very cognizant and mindful of the time. I'm going to be the timekeeper in the moderation of our podcast discussion tonight. Let me see, it's 9:34 right now, 9:35. Let me see, 45, 55, 05, 59, 10, 20. So I'm trying to see if we can keep it within the 30-minute, half-hour mark, 45-minute range tops. All right.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Excellent. How does that sound to you? Sounds good?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect timing, man.
Excellent. Well, before we get into it, man, just wanted to let you know, all this part that led up to this part, I'm going to cut this off once, we fine tune and tweak the audio. So I know you hate it, but, we're going to do a brief introduction just to kind of fine tune with it.
I got you. It's all good, man.
100%. All right, so let me know when you're ready and we'll start.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it in.
All right, I'll give it a good, 6-7 second pause and we'll get right into it.
Cool.
All right, yo, what's going on? It's the man, Kevin Unglad, back to you, another one with the Wise Guys podcast, and we have with me.
This is Mark Pruden, one half of the Wise Guys podcast.
And again, we're the Wise Guys. We're happy to be here with you all this evening. Mark, my brother, how are you doing, man? I haven't seen you since maybe December or something like that. We've been in contact and we obviously recorded, but I haven't seen you physically since December. How are you doing, my brother?
Man, can't complain. Everything is great. Like we already know, I started that position at BlockFi, working at the cryptocurrency startup. So it's been amazing, man, especially with the price of crypto shooting up. There's been so much volume and activity. It's a bit overwhelming, but we're just pushing through,
I love it, man. Bro, you already know how I feel about you, man, and the moves that you're making. I'm just happy to witness it all, be a part of it all, and I just get good feelings just seeing you do what you do. So it's always a pleasure. It's an honor. So
appreciate that, brother. Definitely. How's everything with you? I know you've been working on a lot of things right now, so you've got a lot going on. So give us a brief breakdown of sneak peek of what's happening right now, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. I really do got a lot going on right now. So currently, you can see the microphone with me right now, which is how I'm communicating with you tonight. Yeah, so once I'm done with you, I'm going to put this mic to good use to finish off this EP. So, the EP is not dropping until next year, but I decided, a lot of people in my life have never heard me make any music. They've never heard me sing, they've never heard me rap, and they've never heard me do anything musical on that level. So I figured, you know what, before I put this EP out next year in 2022 and the album out this year in 2021, let me just reach out to 20 or 30 of my closest folks and, just send the EP over to them, 1 year early and just earlier notice. So that way they can kind of get comfortable with not me being an author, but also, how do I say, a performer slash auteur extraordinaire. So yeah, man. So once I'm done with you, I'm gonna wrap it up tonight, and I'm gonna mix and master everything tomorrow. So you should get it by tomorrow night. But I'm probably not going to bed until 2 a.m. Eastern time tonight, man. I got a lot of work to do.
Got you, man. Hey, it sounds beautiful, man. I mean, it's just opening up like an umbrella, all these skills and talents melting in one, and it's just amazing. Because I know not only are you making music, poetry, and all these other things, you're also working with the young men at the youth center, the nonprofit center, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely. And the one thing I can share with you tonight, before we move on, two things actually. One, some of the youth are actually on the EP. I actually have them singing and rapping. That's cool. So just to get them on my project,
for
it's
sure.
actually really powerful. And I think once you hear them on it, you'll understand why I put them on it. There's like a whole theme and concept to it. And then the other thing is, I just kind of wanted to leave my mark, not just with the program, but like leave my mark in terms of like etching them some way, tying them into my life. And with this EP, it's a documentation to know that I was there, So, but yeah, man. So I'll get more a little into it on later podcasts. I'm definitely dropping a single from the EP sometime this spring. And we're going to premiere that first and foremost on the podcast. So that would be cool. But yeah, man, we can talk about all that another time. And I'm just happy to be with you here tonight, brother, to kind of talk about what we need to talk about.
Most definitely. It's always good to join up and build with you, man.
100%, man, 100%. So my brother, so what I wanted to talk to you about tonight in regards to the podcast. So this is episode 50. Episode 50.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, we're 50 episodes. We're halfway into 100, and like we're halfway into something. We've gone through 50 episodes already. It's crazy.
Time flies, man. Can't believe it. Yeah,
100%. So yeah, this is episode 50, A Life of Options. All right. Episode 50, A Life of Options. And before I get started, I just want to say one last quick thing, man. You're looking fly as hell tonight, brother.
Appreciate that, brother. Man, thank you.
You look like Shaft, man. You're looking good.
Appreciate you, brother. Always, man.
100%. So, my brother, this episode is very timely, I feel like, and I think the conversation is very important. So what I mean by that is, how do I start this off? I watched a YouTube video of a YouTuber today talking about options and the options that millennials and young people should relationships with your family, your peers, a life of options. So, if you could just please go ahead and post this in the chat, just in case some people do pop up and want to respond to it. What are your options? What are your options, and how do you?
Can you say that again? You said, what are your options, and
what are your options, and how do you leverage them? You can write that in the chat and pin it.
Gotcha. Cool. Locked in.
Yep. Perfect. So what are your options and how do you leverage them? So my brother, the reason why I'm saying that to you is because this YouTuber was saying that, many young people, they get into that bad relationship with, a significant other, or they find themselves at a job that they hate. Or they get, content at one job and then they get treated like crap. And then before long, before you know it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years passes by, and your boss or whoever is that opposing figure of authority, your girlfriend, whoever, your wife, your spouse, treats you like crap because they know that they've got you and you can't go anywhere. So the reason why I'm asking this, my good brother, is because I wanted to know, what do you think about that? Do you feel as if a lot of people in society are limited or stripped of options because of the fact that they might get stagnant, or because of the fact that they might start to believe that they're not good enough? What are your thoughts about that?
So when you say options, you're referring to like significant other, like different, anything. Or just anything? Okay.
Anything.
Yeah, for sure.
For example, like to give you some time to think about it, we talked about this like on a plethora of occasions on the podcast. Like I know for me, I felt as if like when I was working at Queensborough after graduating my bachelor's, I didn't have any options, right? Because I graduated with my bachelor's in English and I applied to over 80 jobs over a course of 2.5 year span, and I couldn't get anything, not even a callback. So after a while, I started to believe that I had no options, and I started to believe that I was the job, that the job was me, and all I would ever be would be a secretary's assistant. You know, until I had a leap of faith, I applied to Teach for America, and my whole life changed as I moved to Connecticut. So yeah, so again, with the life of options, you know, that's what we're talking about here. So what do you think? Do you think that a lot of people get stagnant because things don't go in their favor, or they start to believe that they start to believe what the world tells them, and that they are as bad as the world or whoever says they are?
Yeah, that's a tough one because a lot of the time you can think you only have a certain amount of options, but it's just like we may be ignorant to what opportunities are really out there. So, perfect example, like, you know, let's say our neighborhood, for example, we don't know exactly, like when we were growing up, we didn't know we had this much opportunity around us. You know, we always thought it was just like, you know, we go to college, try to get a good job and go from there. We didn't know there were other avenues and other ways to make money. So when the college thing didn't work for some people, a lot of people just gave up because they were like, this was my only shot and it didn't work. So I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, get a job with the MTA or, you know, some type of government job. So I think it all comes down to what's around you, what you know, what a, you know what I'm saying? Just like, are you around enough? Are you diversified with your friendships to where you know about different sectors? Because if you're surrounded by 10 people and everybody thinks college is the only way, once college doesn't work out for you, you're going to think you're screwed. So it's very interesting, for sure.
It's true. It's very, very true. And you know, I think about it all the time because, again, like, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to go all over the place here, but like when I, you know, was with, you know, a prior ex-girlfriend, you know, and it got very violent. I remember like she'd put her hands on me and I would have to like defend myself in self-defense. And I remember like there were times where, you know, she would say to me like, Kev, who would want you other than me? Like, who wants a book, you know, a smart, you know, sheltered, shallow book nerd who just cares about intellectual prowess all day? Nobody cares about that. And I started to believe she's right. And she'd tell me, and you ain't got no damn good job. Man, shit, she's right. You know, I would start to believe things like that, you know?
Right.
And I know that sounds kind of drastic, but I think what I'm trying to say here is that it paints a perfect picture in terms of that many people can get stagnated by even your family saying, like your mom saying, hey, you know, if it gets hard, we talked about this before, if it gets hard, come back. Like there's a possibility you're not going to make it without me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That happens a lot. And I feel as if like, what are ways people can go about like breaking out of that mindset? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how we can possibly connect the dots to help people, or not help people, but kind of like help people and help ourselves figure out what are some ways we can go about moving forward, progressing by taking that leap of faith, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think it all comes down to your surroundings, you know, the people around you. Like you said, you know, when the young lady was spewing these negative thoughts and these you know, these negative ideas about you, after a while, you begin to internalize that. You know, you really do internalize all the information and things that people tell you. So I really think, man, it's about kind of diversifying your friendships, diversifying the people around you. Because unfortunately, you know, if you have friends all from the same area, you're going to find them all telling you the same things. They're going to have the same beliefs. So you kind of have to diversify and kind of step outside your bubble and just meet new people. And thanks to the internet, we can do that. You know, we've got, you know, we speak to people all the time on the podcast, you know, people just from different walks of life giving us, you know, different ways to make money, different ways to think about life, different ways to approach, you know, college and other things. So, you know, like you said, it's about diversification, man, kind of spreading those friendships out.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
I remember I was talking to a young lady one time, and she was talking about her potential options of going to law school. And she said she was thinking about it. She wasn't sure. And she said she might apply. And then after a while, her mindset changed. She said, "Nah, I don't think I'm going to apply anymore." And I was like, "Why? Why not? Why? Like, what could possibly stop you from achieving that goal? Or, you know, if that's what you really are setting out to do and that's your passion, what would stop you from actually doing it?" And then she was like, "Well, I don't want my friends to feel bad." I was like, "What do you mean you don't want your friends to feel bad?" She was like, "You know, I just don't want them to feel as if like I'm better than them or I'm doing better than them." I'm like, "Do you feel that way because they're not going to support you?" She was like, "Yeah." And I was like, well, if they're not going to support you or they're going to feel some type of way because you're leveling up, then they're not your friends, you know? Like,
Right.
not saying everyone's going to be a lawyer or whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, whoever's in your network, they should be your net worth, whether that's actually like in actual currency or even just in mindset. Like, you need people around you who are going to support you and say good words and say good things around you. Like, not people who are going to keep you down. And it's funny, I hate to go this way, bro, and I hate to like touch on this topic, but believe it or not, I think there's a lot of people know that there are a lot of phonies working, walking in their circle. And sometimes they know who those phonies are and they just are afraid to call them out because they feel as if they need those people around them. They need friends when that's actually not the case.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point you bring up because I feel like a lot of people they can get intimidated by people that keep it real, quote unquote, because we find comfort in having like a yes man or a yes woman around us, where it's like, okay, everything I do is right, everything I do is great, everything I do is praise. You kind of have to have people that challenge you, because if you're not being challenged, and like they say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. How can you grow if you're surrounded by people that look up to you?
Yeah.
It kind of inflates your ego. And then when you step into a room full of people, and we say this all the time, if you're surrounded by people praising you and you feel like you are, and they look up to you, once you step into a room of people that are on your level and higher, you might be intimidated. You may not fit in because now you're in an uncomfortable place. You're not used to having, minds that challenge you. So I definitely think, yeah, it's, back to that diversification of your friendships, and you got to kind of have a good mix of everything. You can't just have all one person, because they may envy you, they may want to be you, and sometimes that can go left.
No, yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like, I feel like even like, you know, um, in relationships too, like if you find yourself, and the guy was actually talking about this today. He was saying something about a young man who was calling him, asking him for advice, saying that, hey, I'm dating this girl right now, but she's very abusive, and like, she's verbally abusive. She talks down upon me and she says all these things, but what she doesn't know is that I'm trying to love her the best way I can, but there's other women that are just like testing me. They want to be with me. Even some of her friends, that was crazy. He's like, even some of her friends like are secretly DMing me behind her back, whatnot, and they want to get to know me and all this other stuff. And then he was saying something else along the lines of like I don't know, like I feel as if like she sees that I'm getting better, and like she's trying to keep me down and she's trying to weigh me down. And then the YouTuber was saying, well, if you were actually getting better, then you wouldn't put up with that type of foolishness. You wouldn't tolerate the disrespect that she's causing towards you, because you would have more self-discipline and a higher value for yourself as a man. And then he said, but if that is the case, if you do actually have options as a man to be with a woman who's going to respect you and who's going to, understand who you are and show that respect to you on that level, then you would be in a different caliber of a space. So he said that to more so say to the guy that if you do have options and the woman who is with you is competing with you, then she knows that you're getting better by the moment or by the year, and she's not improving. It could be for your looks, it could be for your status, it could be for your education, it could be for what you're doing, and she feels as if like she's possibly not bringing anything to the table, or she thinks that she has to assert herself and try to compete with you on that level. So I don't know. I just think it's a very diverse topic, because anyone can have options in anything, whether it's finance, stocks and bonds, or whatever the case may be. But I feel as if so many people just get caught in a rut where they just don't know how to move. A lot of the times, though, bro, I feel as if like when you're thinking about options, a lot of that time, and we talk about this a lot, I think a lot of the times that even comes from your parents, just your parents just getting into your mind and limiting you from actually progressing and making that next step forward. I'll be honest with you, bro, and I'm going to just keep it a buck on this podcast. I don't think I've ever mentioned this to you, but I just turned 30, right? A month ago, or a little less than like 3 weeks ago, whatever the case may be. But like, yo, man, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, bro. If I didn't take a leap of faith to move to Connecticut, bro, when I was 26 back in 2017,
right.
I would still be living with my mom to this day, because my mom told me that in order to leave the house, you need, you got to do it the Christian way, right? So you have to court a woman, after college. Then you got to get your master's, and then when you start to settle down with a young lady, make sure you propose to her, and then after you propose to her and you get engaged, then after that you move forward in like saving up your money. Then once you save up your money, you start planning for the wedding, and then once you get married, now you move out of the house. And I'm just like, damn, like if I do all those things right, I'll be 36, 37. That's not realistic for everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not realistic for everyone. And I feel as if, like, so oftentimes, like, they have an idea of how life works because it probably worked for them that way, but it doesn't work for us in the current generation that we live in today. And so I say that to you, bro, to say, honestly, if I didn't take that leap of faith, I would still be stuck at home. But when I was stuck at home, my mom was taking $400 from me every month, and she was pinching all my pennies. So I wasn't able to, like, contribute to myself, So I literally moved before on just that leap of faith in order to get my life together. And I feel as if that's something a lot of people are afraid to voice too. A lot of young folks, like, they're afraid to voice that their parents might be their biggest deterrents in actually coming up for themselves or actually taking that next step.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. No, I totally agree with you. But a lot of the time, as parents, we try to prevent our children from making the mistakes we made. So, in a sense, you're living through them. So it's like, okay, I didn't do this when I was your age, so hey, you have to do this. But the thing that they don't realize is, with every generation, things change. The things that you have to do to become successful change. The things you have to do to actually, thrive in society change. So the whole go to college, get your master's, get your bachelor's, do this, do that, that worked for mom. But now this whole generation tried that game and they got locked with these student loans and essentially ruined their financial viability for the next 20, 30 years. So you can't always play the game that the previous generation played, because these kids are getting screwed now. Now they're hoping for student loan forgiveness, So it's like, back when our parents were going to college, it was what, 10 grand? It wasn't like 40 grand a year like it is now. So it's like they say history, it often rhymes, but it's never exactly the same. So you can't play the game the same way your parents did. So it's tough, man. It's tough.
No, it absolutely is, brother. Yeah, man. No, that's a true thing. And I feel as if, like, it's just something that we have to deal with, and we just have to continue to try to, like, overcome, those challenges and those obstacles. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about in regards to, like, a life of options and having options in your life. What do you feel? How do you feel about people like stepping out of their comfort zone, and doing something that they, like, always wanted to do, but they never would have expected that they would do? So, for example, how do you feel about someone like mom or dad told you to become a surgeon, right? And that's the only thing that, they build upon you and they wanted you to do. But who knows, maybe you truly had a gift for, like, arts and crafts, and you wanted to be a designer, or you wanted to be a wedding planner or something of the sort, right? What if that was truly your main goal, and that's something that you truly desired, and you wanted to fulfill those desires, because that by the time, your life is over, right, you will be able to know, looking back on it, and reflecting on your deathbed, that you did everything it is that you needed to do in order to live a life of fulfillment.
Yeah, man. That's the thing. Life is extremely short, so it really doesn't make sense to kind of live the life that your parents want you to live. If they say they want you to be a surgeon or a doctor or whatever the case may be, you shouldn't base your life's work, on what your parents told you. You should always go after what you love, even if it doesn't pay that much, because at the end of the day, you'd most likely be happier doing what you love and making a small amount of money than doing what you hate and making a large amount of money. So I don't think it's worth it, man. I really don't think it's worth it to, kind of follow the guidance of other people telling you what you should do for the next 40 or 50 years. That's a huge commitment. So I don't even think it's worth it, man. It's better to just make a small amount and do what you love.
100%. 100%. You know what else I want to talk about, tonight before we get out of here? If there are any ladies on, please feel free to comment with your thoughts. And Mark, this season we're doing something a bit different on the podcast. This season, what we're doing is where and we'll let you guys know soon, Wise community, because there's a pending an impending name change. This is about to happen, very very soon. Mark and I are
Right.
working on it. Give us some time, but like this season, Mark, what we're working on or what we're trying to do is we're trying to diversify the topics and not just talk about success and just trying to get it, get it, get it. We're trying to talk about a whole bunch of things that we as a people experience in commonalities. So what I really wanted to talk to you about is I know this might be kind of out of our league, but I want to talk about family, and I want to talk about building a family, what that looks like, marriage, and a bit of those things. Now, I know I don't have experience, but we talked about this last night, over DM and text, and I think it's very important that we bring this up. My brother, do you agree with the notion or the concept that the father in the household should be working more so than seeing his children? Because again, I was watching another YouTuber, and he was talking about the father's role or the husband's role in the household is to go out and be the hunter, right? Bring the bacon back home. And he should be working at least 50, 60 hours a week if he's trying to, secure and embed and etch that foundation or legacy for his family. While the wife or the woman should be the, submissive, not serving, but like, helper in that way. So the woman should be the helper and should be rearing the children, as opposed to the man should be out there hunting and gathering food in order to provide to the lady, to the woman. So I asked that to say to you, do you think does that sound accurate to you? Or is there a possibility of both man and woman being two heads of the household? Two alphas, or two in 50-50 partnership where everything is split all the way down the line in terms of how the household is brought up?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a controversial one right there. I mean, like we said yesterday, traditionally, uh, the male of the household is the one that's, going out, like you said, bringing the bacon home, providing, just giving his wife and his kids all they need to be successful and thrive. But in this day and age, the roles have slightly changed where we have a lot more independence, where the male and the female of the household are now in control. They may make the same amount. They may have the same salary. They may have the same amount of hours that they work. So now, instead of the mother and the father really raising the kids, now you have a nanny or a babysitter raising the kids. So, but I think that to be as effective as possible, you want to raise your kids. You don't want to have a third party in the mix. So the system that you mentioned of the dad bringing home the bacon while the mother is able to nurture and care for the children, and also have her job and her businesses of those types. I think that's a good thing, because you want to have you want it to be a partnership, a teamwork, where we're both raising this kid together. We don't want us both to be so busy to where we have a third party, like a babysitter or a nanny, raising the kids. Because now, who really raised the kid? Did grandma raise her? Did you know what I'm saying? So I think if you want to have the biggest impact possible, there has to be a shift there. Like, there has to be a let up on how much we're putting into working and building, because it's tough to say who raises the kid if both the mother and the father are working very hard. Because who really made the impact? Who really instilled these beliefs and just mindset? Maybe religion, maybe so many different things that you can miss out on because we're overworking ourselves. So sometimes I think it's good to say, listen, I'll be the sacrificial lamb. I'll work my tail off, and you just pour all that you have, into the kids, so that we don't have a third party. But you want your wife to be able to build her own businesses as well. You want her to be able to have her own career as well. You don't want her to be stagnant because she's raising children. You want her to have that freedom. So the whole roles thing is very controversial. You know what I mean? We do want, it should be equal. We should all be able to pursue our dreams. Women are not, deemed to be, housemaids or babysitters. They should be able to pursue their dreams as well. So it's a tough one. I think it all comes down to balance. I think if both the male, the mother and the father are able to split their work and their and the time that they put into the children. I think that's better than having, one person overworking. It's tough, man. It's really tough. It's a tough one.
No,
What are your thoughts on it?
No, I hear you. I hear you 100%. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, bro. I'm gonna give you my spiel on it. I've been pouring into, and for anyone here who may be a fellow Christian as well, please be sure to share your thoughts on this. But I've been checking my scripture a good amount as of recently, brother. And also too just doing some research, find some information, because I'm trying to understand how am I going to go about tying my business and tying my financial future to the woman I plan on settling down with and investing with. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, brother. If I'm going by that Bible says that God is the head, and then after God, he puts the husband to be the head of the household, and then the woman follows the man. The woman follows the husband. So I say that to say that as my woman, as my lady, we cannot be equal. I'm sorry, like you are my wife, and we are not equal. You are following and supporting me. Prior, I would never have said that, but at 30, I'm starting to get enlightened, and I'm starting to seek that, and obtain that wisdom. As the man, I have to lead. And if I'm not leading, then there's no true progress that's being made. Now, I'm not saying as a woman, you can't have insight and you can't put your own 2 cents into what I'm doing or what we're doing, because of course that's necessary in order for us to sustain what we're building and in order to grow. But more than not, brother, I'm starting to realize as I continue to grow and be more comfortable in myself, that as the man, I need to be the head of the household. And if I'm not at the head of the household, then we can't be together. I'm sorry.
That's powerful.
And as a woman, I'm sorry, ladies, don't take this offensive, because I don't mean this towards you all in any type of way, but you are not on my level as the man. I just mean that 100%.
That's a
because
one,
what
man.
you're doing, no, I'm being honest, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, one of us got to be controversial. We all can't be kumbaya today.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna say it like this. Bro. What you do as a woman, I can't do that. I might not have the patience to be nurturing like that. I might not have the patience to get all the dirt and grime out of the bathtub. I hate cleaning the bathtub. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just calling it for what it is. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I know my absolutes. Yeah, I know my flaws. I'm just being honest. But hey, ladies of the wise community, if there's anyone out there who disagrees with me or who agrees or has a point to make, if you could just type it into the IG Live chat, during tonight's podcast, we'd greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Right. That, man, I mean, that was powerful right there, for sure. I mean, if we're talking traditionally, that is how it's always been. But, in this era, it's becoming a lot more, equal, where both roles are now, holding full-time jobs with full careers and full businesses. So in this generation, it seems as if that doesn't work. What do you think? Do you think that can still work?
It's so funny you say that. In this generation, if you look at it in a mainstream worldly society level, it doesn't work, because that is what they're marketing to us. That's what they're showing us. Everyone has to be bosses and all of that and whatnot. But I'm sorry, as my lady, you kiss the ring when you see me. All right, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm trying to make the podcast more fun, man. Yo, we've been so stiff for 2 seasons. I'm trying to show that funny side of us and funny side of me. But now, all jokes aside, though, like, I'm sorry. Like, I think my personality, I know I'm very laid back, but when it comes to leading, I think my personality is too strong for me to have to go back and forth and not butt heads, but compete with my woman. But that's just me, though. That's just a preference. And that's just my opinion. And if someone differs, whether it be yourself, Mark, or anyone here tonight, I don't take that, lightly, or I don't see it in a negative light. I don't just, I mean, I might disagree, but, I wouldn't see that person or perceive them to be any other way or look down upon them. So I guess it's all just perspective and preference. And I think a lot of my preference now just has to do with how I was raised. It's not the easiest thing, but hey, I mean, whatever works for you or whatever you think works for whatever it is that you're going for, whatever you're building. Like, I know what I'm building at this point at 30 years old. I feel as if I've gotten this clarity over the past 6 months. So I don't know. It's just something that's very interesting.
No, I can definitely see what you're saying, though. I mean, what you're clearly saying is you are a dominant male. You're a dominant personality. You want to be the leader. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with wanting to be the leader. You know what I mean? So I can't say that you're wrong for saying that because technically, if you look at the traditional sense of any, when it comes to humans or animals, the male does lead, the male does guide. So I can't say you're wrong, but in this society, what you said is wrong. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, that's a fact. But
Yeah.
you know what I say now? You know what I say now?
What?
I don't give a damn what the society is. I'm at that point. And just disclaimer, because this podcast will be heard around the world, and we're currently, what's that word? We're being syndicated in 8 different markets, 8 different countries. This is not Mr. Mark Prudent's thoughts. This is all Kevin Angle's thoughts. All right, I'm a professional. I'll take the heat. Take it all off of Mark Prudent. Throw it all on
Yes.
me, then. All right.
I like
Mark,
that's a good one.
would you like to read that comment that we just received tonight from Marie? I think she just wrote something interesting.
Yes. Marie said men cannot breastfeed and women can't bring in the bacon when she is breastfeeding. Okay, that's a great point. So that's an excellent point. Let me finish what she said. She said, I think that the new culture is so messed up and the kids are being neglected. That's a fact. See that, and that's what I mean when I say, you're not wrong on that, Kev, because Marie is right. She's correct. We don't have the tools to nurture a baby, to raise a baby. So I guess what we're saying is God intended for the woman to nurture and care for the child. We're not saying that they can't build their businesses and work jobs, but
No, not
their
at all.
their their body is designed, to raise a child, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But it's true. If you're working 50, 60 hours a week, how can you truly nurture, the way that a child should be nurtured? Do you? It's really tough, man. Because like we just said, if if both of us are working 40, 50 hours a week, we're not raising a kid, the babysitter's raising the kid, and she's instilling her beliefs into the kid, and she's instilling her practices and her vocabulary into the kid. And
Yeah.
so technically we're part-time parents and full-time employees. So
That's good.
that's a tough one. Maria, she hit the nail on the head. We don't have the tools. So essentially, God designed us to provide. But like you said, this society, this culture is a bit different, and it's a slippery slope.
No, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. As I said before, my brother, I don't want to, because we're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing these live IG Wise Guys podcasts. We're going to stick to this format every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern time for the rest of the month. So with that being said, I don't want to keep you on too long. So I want to close out with this final question before we get to the word to the wise. The
right.
question I have for you, my brother, is. Are the options or are the protect or are the options that a young man or a young boy, let's say he's about 14, 15. No, matter of fact, I want to really back in for a second. Let's say he's somewhere between the ages of 13 to 17 or 12 to 17. That's the critical area or a critical time period of growth for a young male. Does a boy or a teenage adolescent, however you would like to call him, does a young male lose the potential of his options between the ages of 12 to 17 if his father is not in the household or is not actively involved in his life? Does he lose out on the potential options of who he could possibly potentially become?
I mean, I would say yes, because we learn from emulation, and we learn from having a role model. I mean, if he finds a role model within his community or his neighborhood, sure, he's going to be a lot more equipped to tackle on life. But without that, I'd say he would be significantly handicapped. Because we do need the guidance. We need to learn how to be men. As they say, women are excellent, but I'd say only a woman can raise a woman, because a woman, she's a woman. She knows, okay, this is how this works. This is how that works. Let me teach you how to be a woman. Let me teach you how to, stuff like that. But when it comes to being a man, I think only a man can show a man how to be a man, essentially. So it's like I couldn't teach a college course on writing in English like you can, because I don't have those skills. I would have no business doing that. So I truly think that you do need a young growing male does need a male role model to kind of learn
And
how to be a man.
100%. And last question, actually, I know I said that was the last question. I lied. An additional bonus: does the young lady between the ages of 12 to 17 as well, is her options potentially stripped when the father is not in the household or actively involved in her life as well? What do you think?
That's a tough one. I
It's a tough one.
it's
Ladies,
tough,
any thoughts
man.
on this, ladies? Any thoughts
Because
on this, ladies?
now I'm kind of contradicting myself, right? Because I just
That's
said
why I did
that,
that. I was trying to set you up.
yeah, right. But I would say not. It's not. I would say a little bit, slightly handicapped, but not that bad because she still has her mother to guide her on how to be a woman. Maybe she's handicapped when it comes to trying to find the right man or find the right qualities in a man. I have no idea. But then again, the father could have been not a good father. So I mean, it's like, does just the mere presence of a father matter, or is it the quality of the father? Because now it's getting really technical. It's like,
That's a good question. That's a good
yeah,
question because sometimes the mere does a mere father qualify, or does the quality of the father actually resonate more? It's interesting you say that because sometimes we see outstanding women doing remarkable things, and their father was just a generic father. No disrespect to that father, but he was just there, And then you have fathers who might work 80 hours a week, wasn't there, and she's got a lot of problems because she didn't spend time with her dad, and they never built that relationship, so she might not know how to trust men or whatever the case may be. I don't know.
and
I think this is a healthy one. This is
and that it
yeah,
goes both ways. It goes both ways. If the mother wasn't in the household and there was a young boy growing up, he would be handicapped as well for when
for
it
some.
comes to choosing his wife. So it's tough. I mean, black in the black and white, both parents are needed to really develop properly. I think. I mean,
100%, brother.
that's the way God designed it. So
For sure. No,
yeah.
I'm
So
with you,
it's
Rick.
like, yeah,
Not yet. I'm with you with that 100%. So my brother, as I said before, I wanted to be respectful of you and as well as everyone else's time because we're gonna continue to do this. Wise Community will be here each Saturday. If time and schedules permits for both Mark and myself, every Saturday this month, February, recording a new episode of the podcast. So all of you that are tuning in and listening right now, you're actually listening to the podcast episode in advance of when it will actually air. So we're going back and forth this year, or this season, more rather, in recording, current episodes and as well as future episodes since due to COVID, we can't really meet up that much. And, I don't plan on seeing Mark for at least another month. So, so this will have to do, for, as like a hybrid model, if that makes sense, for the
right.
rest of this season. So with that being said, my brother, let's end with the word to the wise tonight. I think, we pretty much gave the wise community some great amount of information that they could take home with them and chew on. So with the word to the wise, what is I'm going to start first, if you don't mind, to give you some time to think.
Yeah.
What is your word to the wise when it comes to having options in life? What if you could apply one word, a wise word, what would that wise word be? In regards to options. For me, brother, I think if I had to choose one word in regards to options, honestly, I think the word I'm going to say is, I'm actually going to cheat. I'm actually going to say two words, and I know sometimes we tend to do this. I'm going to say don't hesitate. Don't hesitate when it comes to having options. If you feel as if something is better or you feel that something innately within your heart or your spirit is calling you in that direction and it's right, don't hesitate. And again, I use my example of living back with my mom, for the first 26 years of my life. And when that opportunity came to, enlist and enroll and teach for America and devote 2 years of my life in service of education and teaching kids, I never thought I'd become a teacher ever in my life. That's never something I ever planned or thought for myself. Although people had told me I would make a good teacher, I never thought of it. But when I saw how my life was, I was in debt. I was just on the horizon of graduating with my master's, and I didn't want to be in the same predicament as I was in after receiving my bachelor's, which was being at a job that I hated, where I was making below or beneath my means, and I was stuck. I said, you know what? I cannot repeat the same storyline or plot line. I have to get out of here. So,
Right.
I say don't hesitate, because in that moment I decided not to hesitate. I took a leap of faith, and this August will make 4 years since I left my mother's house, and I'm grateful for it. What about yourself, brother?
I mean, that was an awesome point for sure, because hesitation can really change the trajectory of your life. You know, like, man, fear. I mean, you don't want to have any regrets, man. You took a leap of faith. You jumped out there, and it all worked out. And even if it didn't work out, that would have developed you further as a man.
100%.
So you're spot on with that, man, for sure. For me, I was just going to go back to the word diversify, because, you know, sometimes we are handicapped due to, you know, what's given to us or what's been taken away from us, whether it's having both parents or, you know, just having, you know, family with wealth, family with influence. So I think we have to diversify with the people that we hang out with, the people that we associate ourselves with, because if you have 5 friends and all of your 5 friends are the exact same person, how can you ever grow? You know, or if you have 5 friends and you're the champion of the 5 friends, how can you ever grow? You're just going to be extremely comfortable. They're praising you. They're, you know, giving you a pat on the back for everything you're doing, but you're not growing as a person, because the day you step in a room full of real heavy hitters, you know, you're going to be like a little puppy with his tail between his legs, because you're going to feel like a fraud. You wouldn't know how to, you know, even, you know, thrive in that room. So I really think that we have to expose ourselves to, you know, people or places that make us uncomfortable, you know, for development reasons. So I think that's a huge thing. And I even have that problem. So when it comes to, you know, putting yourself out there, man, I mean, I have knowledge, stocks, cryptocurrency, real estate, all that good stuff, but there's people that know 100 times what I know.
Right.
I need to be in that room with them. But sometimes it can be like, hands off, let me just fall back and keep doing my research. But sometimes you have to go past research, and you have to go actually put yourself in front of that person, put yourself in that room, because you can learn a lot more from someone speaking to you than reading a book or reading something on the internet. So
that's true.
And that's something that I'm working on to this day. So I think that's a good word, diversify.
I love it. I love it. Before we go, I just want to add a couple of things in there. Marie, shout out to you. You've been holding it down in the comments section. We really appreciate you. I wanted to say shout out to Neo _4. Neo said, thank you for the content. I have to go about now, but shout out to the wise guys from Morrisville, North Carolina. Shout out to Morrisville, North Carolina. We appreciate you 100%. Keep tuning in to us out there. And then Marie said an abundance of things, but she says there is a huge father deficit, which is perpetuating problems. My father was mostly absent due to work, and it affected me greatly. Dads give the value to their daughters. Interesting perspective.
Yeah. She always has a great perspective when it comes to life. You know, she's really deep. You know what I mean? Very in tune with herself and her emotions. Much respect to her, for sure.
100%. We always appreciate it, for sure. So shout out to Emily, and shout out to Neo once again from Morrisville, North Carolina. All right, for tuning in. And so this is going to conclude today's episode of The Wise Guys. I think we pretty much covered everything we need to talk about today.
For sure, man. I'm looking forward to these lives every Saturday, man. I'm ready for it. This is great,
me too, man. I think it's going to be fun. You know, something to do, you know, in the midst of this harsh, cold winter. So it should be good.
Yeah, definitely, man. And as always, appreciate these conversations, because, you know, you're the mastermind behind this, just behind the framework of the podcast. No, seriously, man. So, hey, man, it's always a pleasure to be on here, you know, going through conversation, just digging into these topics, because, you know, the people enjoy it. I enjoy it. You enjoy it. Everybody's happy, man. It's a beautiful thing.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Thank you, my brother, immensely.
Most definitely.
With that being said, everyone, just to let you know, thank you all for tuning into the Wise Guys live IG chat. I think we had overall, if you think of people who were in and out, I think we had about a total about 12 to 15 people. So we thank y'all for coming through, passing through, dropping in your comments, your thumbs up, whatever it is that y'all thought or what you said. The Wise Guys podcast, we're back. All right, we've been saying it for the past few weeks. We've been for the past couple of weeks, but it is what it is. We're back for season 3. Our theme this season is Dreaming Big. All right, we're available on Anchor. We finally got some new cover art. We hope y'all love it. All right, you know, Mark is smiling, you know, so that's a good one. Sure. You know, on top of that, everyone, we're on all platforms. We're on Anchor, our host. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast. We are on YouTube as well. We are on Pocket Caster, and all of the plethora of podcast host sites that are out there. All right, please be sure if you're on Apple Podcasts to leave us a review. Subscribe, guys, to the show. Like the show. Bring a friend on, please. We would love to get more people into our community. Please be sure to bring a friend onto the Wise community and have them check out some great potent information that's going out there. And like I said before, season 3, we're coming at you guys different. I think I'm going to be more of the unfiltered route and a bit more of the aggressor this season. And I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah,
I think we're going to have a great, great time here. I'm going to say a lot of things that I probably shouldn't say, but it'll all be in all good spirits. Next week's episode, for officially podcast episode, is The Power of the Minds. We're talking about intro and extroverts. Mark, we had a great conversation with that one. So I think a lot of people will like that episode. Yep, all right, so please be sure to tune into that episode, and we'll be back with another live next Saturday. We don't know exactly what the topic will be because we're going all over the place, but that will be another Wise Guys, official Wise Guys episode 2. So as we said at the beginning of the podcast, it's the man, all right, Kevin Anglad.
And this is Mark Pruden.
And once again, you've been tuning into the Wise Guys podcast. We'll see you all next week.
Stay wise.
My brother, that was
man, awesome stuff, brother. It was a great one.
Sure. Definitely. All right, my brother. So be sure, to lock it down, save it into the IGTV. I'll do whatever I need to do with it, and then we'll catch up next Saturday, and then we'll catch up over text.
Sounds good, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, my brother. Take care.
All right, take care.
Peace.